All right, we are back with another pair of knives from Beard of Doom. And I believe this is the knife that really kind of started Beard of Doom's and I's friendship, if you will. He ordered this from Bastian Knives. And I have his card right here. One second. Alistair Bastian. And if it will focus, you have his contact information there. He does some amazing work. I just did a video on a Hornet recently. Here's a couple of other things that he does. He makes his own Damascus. He makes his own Timascus. His own, like he forges his own steels oftentimes, which that's very cool. You don't get more custom than that. Now, he's not the only person that's doing that. Todd Fisher Sr. has a forge, makes his own Damascus at home, in his shop for some of his knives. So there are a lot of custom makers out there that make their own materials. So that in and of itself isn't new. There's a lot of people doing that. But it is very cool when they can make a full dress model and a user model. So that's what I'm going to talk about here today. We're going to go through some of the specs for sure. But I really want to talk about a little bit of the differences between, now these are both custom knives, but a user knife and a dress knife. Just because it's a dress knife doesn't mean it doesn't get used though. This is a full dress or a fancy, a custom VC Edge interface. This is about triple the price of a standard one. I'm not going to lie. And it has exotic materials, Timascus, Damasteel, different types of carbon fiber. The hand finishing is a little bit nicer than a standard custom. I carry and use that all the time. That's in my pocket a lot. So just because something is a dress knife does not necessarily mean the owner is not going to use it. Which you can see here on the blades. I didn't clean them off. I wiped them off, but I didn't really want to go and clean them off too much because I wanted to show that there is some tape residue and stuff on this dress knife blade. Now, this is the one that Beard of Doom got first, and he was waiting until he got the EDC version before he sent them to me so that I could do this exact video and talk about the differences between the two. Hand rub satin, CPM 154 on this one. Titanium bolsters. Shredded carbon fiber scales, titanium backspacer with some liners, and the lanyard hole, or the doodad hole, as Beard of Doom calls it, because that's not a normal offering from Bastian Knives. They don't normally do that. But if you ask them, they'll do it. That's one of the beauties of custom knives. And a lanyard with a crazy, I don't even want to know how much, zirconium spinning bead. And this thing will spin. I'm not even going to sit here and let it die because it'll spin for like a minute and a half. Like it spin for a long time. But I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch it spin. But it is a very cool bead. I'm not a lanyard guy. I don't do beads, but it's very cool nonetheless. Titanium pocket clip. This is super user, but has great action. Zoom back out. Great action on bearings. Fantastic. Lighter weight. This guy here, let's walk around the whole thing. This is, to me, it's the first blade that I have seen or heard of that it has it's a Sanmai Damascus. The center core is Magna Cut. And then it's a boomerang Sanmai. I'm not saying it's the very first Sanmai blade with MagnaCut as the core. It's the first one I've ever heard of. First one I've seen. Titanium Damascus scales and a pivot collar that I believe Bastian made himself. Flamed titanium liners. Give you a look inside here. He does sign the backspacers and number each of them, which I think is super cool. Flame heat colored liners. The backspacer is pretty cool. Also, it's 3 pieces. It's all hand filed. It is stainless steel, titanium, and then stainless steel on the backspacer, which I just think is very cool. It's hard to see, but that's all hand file work. Not a machine, not a CNC. It's all hand filed. And then on the back of the blade, you have still some of that same gator back pattern, if you will. Same titanium Damascus pocket clip and scale, and zirconium fingerprint magnet bolsters. Hand-filed pivots also. So they're going to look slightly different, perhaps. I just think the level of detail of every Bastian knife that I have ever seen has been phenomenal. I would use the heck out of this. I would probably carry it and just say, screw it. I'm at the point now in my collecting and whatnot that I'm kind of just like, yeah, whatever. I bought it. I don't want to just hang it on the wall. I don't want to just leave it on the shelf, put it in a drawer. I want to carry my knives. I carry almost all of my knives, and I'll use them if I happen to be somewhere and I need to use a knife. Whatever's in my pocket is going to get used. That being said, if I'm going out camping, I am probably not taking this one in my pocket. I'm going to take the appropriate tools for the appropriate day. Okay, so let's talk about some specs and where they differ. So having knives custom made by hand, there's always going to be variations. You may get another one of these EDC versions and it have slightly different dimensions because they're custom made knives. So 4 7/8 versus 5 1/8. 8 inches overall versus 8.5. So this one is bigger, noticeably bigger, just sitting there. It's just a little under 8.5 inches, but so 3.2 inch blade versus a 3.3 inch blade. Behind the edge is also a little bit different. 0.028 versus 0.34. The blade thickness, 0.149 versus 206. So even the overall thickness of the knives are different, which I thought that particular one was a little bit, I did not expect them to be different thicknesses necessarily. Okay. CPM 154 versus the MagnaCut Core Boomerang Sanmai. The weight, there's a difference. Roughly 8 ounces for just the knife. Add in the bead and you're at 9.3 ounces as a total package. And you're at 11 ounces on the nose for this guy. It's a big, heavy knife. Just picking it up, you know that it is got mass to it. The overall thickness is 0.667 versus 699. And they both run on bearings and they are both super smooth and they fire every time. I like the fact that even on the EDC version, there is that gator back style on the back of the blade, but it's different. It's much more generic, if you will. It's not hand filed. I mean, it's probably hand done, but they spent less than half the time on the EDC version that they did on the dress version. So you're getting what you pay for. And you can, the beauty of working with custom makers is You as the purchaser can do whatever you want, and they will make them however you want within certain parameters. There may be certain materials that they cannot get. There may be certain materials that they do not work with because they just aren't going to work with it. I am in the process right now of working with Ed Kim from Red Horse Knife Works to design and come up with the materials for one last custom Hellraiser. This is the first custom that he ever made, custom Hellraiser that he ever made. And he's going to discontinue this model, and he's going to make me the last one. And at one point, we talked about some stuff, and he goes, look, I'll do most anything, but I'm not doing anything glow in the dark. Because I was thinking, well, maybe some glow in the dark backs. He said, nope, not going to do it. And he's not going to use that pearl carbon fiber either, because when he made the Black Death series, it literally put him in the hospital from grinding all of the carbon fiber. So there is going to be some things that the custom maker is going to tell you no on. But it's up to you. Up into the point of, you want a lanyard hole, Beard of Doom? You got a lanyard hole. Even though they don't do that, they did it for you. I don't know if this is the only one in existence, but as a custom knife purchaser, you can, I don't want to say dictate, but you can request certain things. And yes, everything's going to have a cost. Oh, you want a lanyard hole? That's $50. Oh, you want this material? That's an extra 50. You want this? That's an extra 100. You want me to hand engrave your name inside? That's an extra 100. Like, there's always going to be a price for everything that you ask for. But that's the beauty of working with true handmade custom folks, not kind of the mid-tech folks and things like that, where you may get your choice of color. You may get your choice of stonewashed or satin finish or, certain options, but you have a set menu that you can choose from. True custom makers, there is not really a menu. It's just whatever you can imagine and think up. So I don't know. I've done some other Bastian knives. I'll put a link down below or up here in the corner. And please go check out Beard of Doom's channel over here. Let him know that I sent you. I would appreciate that, because it says I'm doing my job by shouting him out. And because people loan knives into me, I like to help them out and give them the respect that they deserve, because there's a lot of money in a box that he shipped me. Like, these are not cheap knives. None of the knives are. Like, these are all overbuilt, fancy custom knives, and there are costs to those. I don't even know what these ones were. I don't want to know. But the bead is probably more expensive than I would imagine as well. So thank you, Beard of Doom, for sending these in. I greatly appreciate it. I know that when I ship out knives to people, I'm glad to do that. And I loan a lot of my knives out to friends and other YouTube channels. And yeah, it's always nice when they say thanks. So there you go. I will stop rambling and let you go about your day. So please go check out those other videos and Beard of Doom's channel, and have a great rest of your day.